I hope each of you is doing well. I'm really excited because our special guest today, it's a very special woman. She is not only an inspiration, she's not only helping people from all around the world to live better life, but she is also a furry mommy of two very beautiful furry kids. So I'm so excited to welcome and introduce you to Ashley. She is a coach and a mom and so much more. And today she's going to share with us a little more about her and about the impact she does for the world. So thank you so much, Ashley, for being with us today. Yay!
Thank you for inviting me. It's so nice to be a part of this community that you've built.
Thank you. I feel the same way. I'm very grateful because as you and we spoke before, we pressed the button go live. I'm always trying to really find interesting and very talented people like you to showcase to all of us that there is more into life. And as hard time life it can be, it's only our choice to decide to live better life. What do you think about this?
Oh, I totally agree with you. And I would say that, you're never going to live a life without stress and without distraction. And so just learning how to be successful during all of that and choosing how you want to experience all the stress and the distractions is really the key to success. Yeah.
No. And like, how did you start your journey? How did you decide to become a coach?
That's a great question. And I get that a lot because my first career was in dentistry. I practiced as a dental hygienist for 17 years, up until recently, up until a year ago, when I decided to take the leap and coach full time. Yeah, so my personal story on why I decided to leave dental hygiene, I felt I was experiencing burnout, which is chronic stress. And I couldn't really put my finger on why, because I love taking care of my patients. I have a great sense of pride for the education behind dental hygiene. I love the science, and I couldn't really put my finger on exactly why I was feeling burnt out and that it would never get better. And then, as we all know, in 2020, we kind of all had some time to sit at home and think. And I really did some soul searching about how I could continue to work with people one-on-one, provide a valuable service, and really bring something impactful to people's lives.
Very interesting. And I do agree, like, we had, all of us, we had to go through this time. And like, friends, I was very lucky. I photographed Ashley, so we spent a few hours together during the picture day process. And like you and we talked about it. A lot of times when you work when you work certain job, after a while it's time for a change, and even if you're really great in what you do, maybe you had change over the time, and then suddenly you're like, okay. And then you start finding things you probably never thought, like Ashley, that you really can pursue as a career. But what I'm really excited and empowered by you is that you just decided to believe in you, and you just decided, you know what? Because a lot of people by default, they would say, oh, I'm afraid. Oh, I'm going to leave my great job with so many benefits and go into something unknown. But then if you think of it, of the end result, because a lot of times by default, and you being the professional, we think about us, but the moment when you start thinking about the impact, in a way, the people you can help, without sometimes, I mean, in your case, in my case, I don't even know a lot of times, but it's just knowing that you change people's life in a good way. it's very powerful, but also for some people it's scary.
Definitely, definitely. The fear of the unknown is one of the biggest blocks for all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it brings up so many other blocks that you didn't even think you had in you when you start really getting in touch with that fear of the unknown. So
Very interesting, and I do agree with you completely. I do agree. And what is one of the most common things you hear from some of the people you coach?
that's a great question. I hear a variety of different things, and it's usually not what somebody comes to me for. For example, I will have a client who wants to work on becoming a better communicator. And then really, when we start to get at the core of why they want to be a better communicator or the struggles that they're having with communication is a completely different animal than wanting to be a better communicator.
Yeah, you kind of start unpeeling layers and you're discovering that reasons are very different. And a lot of times it's not what you thought. Sometimes you think it's you, but sometimes it ends up being the people around you or the lifestyle you live. And the list is long and long and long, I'm sure. And can you tell us a little more also about your two fur babies? And how did they complete and do they complete your life and your profession as well, helping others?
Oh my gosh, yes, 100%. They are my life coaches. Ziggy is a 5-year-old French Bulldog, and he is hilarious. He truly teaches me that you can find something to laugh about every day. Despite the stress or the distractions, the day-to-day, when you don't feel like laughing or smiling or finding joy, he truly teaches me there is always room for humor.
So true. I'm sure that whoever is watching or listening would appeal to this and say, yes, actually, we are the same way. It's so funny. So many times, like we are so focused on what we do, and suddenly we hear a bark. Or
Yeah.
meow. If you have a kitty cat, you're like, oh my gosh, I have been behind the computer for 4 hours. I need a break. I need to walk my doggies. And then you're like, why I'm so serious? Why I'm so worried? Let me give a hug to my fur baby or babies, and then life gets better and better.
Yes. And, I think I've mentioned to you that I've traveled extensively internationally, living and working, and always had Ziggy and Zoe with me. And,
Wow.
It's a testament to they get off the plane, and as long as they have their needs met and they're loved, they're resilient. They adjust, they adapt. And I always, like I said, they're my life coaches.
I love it. I love it. And do you feel inspired by them for what you do as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful story. Wow, our babies. It's incredible how our loved ones 2 and 4 legs can really impact us and kind of remind us and bring us sometimes by the simple things in life. And then just from there, continue doing what you're doing. But it's, they're so precious. So when you send me pictures and I'm like, oh my God, look at them. Little cutie patootie and troublemakers too, probably.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh my God. What is the craziest thing like they have done? Like if there is one story, one thing you didn't expect for them to do, and they did.
There are so many stories, but Zoe, who crossed the Rainbow Bridge in 2019, thank you, she could have written a book. She got into so much mischief and has eaten she would find things in people's purses that you wouldn't think a dog would want to eat and be totally fine. She has been to the Tour de France in France and watched.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Oh,
Yeah, she has so many stories. Everybody that met her would have a story about her. Yeah.
wow, this is incredible. Well, do you know what? One day, by the way, friends, I'm so excited because Ashley is going to be featured also in our May issue magazine, which is coming up in the middle of May. So stay tuned. You're going to learn a little more. But it's just so interesting, the stories you're sharing with us. And how some babies who are not with us anymore, they always will continue being part of our heart and our soul. It's very interesting. And I try to keep pet pics very positive. But this morning, I had a conversation with my daughter, who is 5 years old. And she told me that one of her best friends from school lost her doggy who was old. And it was interesting the way I explained it to 5 years old, little human, how when doggies get old on average, they gain their wings and they go under the rainbow bridge, but they always will be in our hearts, our memories. And I pointed at her and I said, and our pictures. And she said, yes, mommy. So I always see it that they always will be with us, their legacy. I mean, like so many people like you and I, and so many people I interview and part of our community, and we know, created businesses in their legacy. They started with their furry babies, and when they lost them, they decided, no, I will continue what I do in their honor. And this is very powerful.
Oh, I agree with you. She's always in our hearts and our memories, and we exactly always find a memory or a moment where we're thinking about her to honor her. And yeah, so special.
It is, my friend, it is. And I wanted to ask you, with you traveling and living in so many places, would you mind, if you feel comfortable, maybe to share a few of the places you've lived?
Sure. Yeah. I grew up living internationally. My parents worked for an oil company from Texas.
Oh, how interesting. I didn't know this.
Yes. So that's where it all started. I lived in the Middle East for a good portion of my life, Thailand, England. Yeah. And then after university, I knew that I wanted to continue living internationally. And so my first job out of university in 2005 was in Hong Kong. And after Hong Kong, I lived in Bermuda.
Oh my God. Well, can you tell me a little more about the Bermuda? This is so interesting. So many countries. Wow.
I know. Even my husband cannot remember everywhere that I've lived. Okay. So I moved to Bermuda in 2007 after I was living in Hong Kong, and thought that I would work there for this dental office for 2 years. And I met my husband there, who's Canadian.
Oh, wow.
We were there almost 14 years.
Wow, that's incredible. And what a beautiful love story about you and him meeting there, living there. And it amazes me how it doesn't matter where you have been born. Obviously, eventually at some point in our lives, we have the choice, and hopefully we get lucky to live where we want to live. And how everything kind of comes in place. And have you found that all of your experience traveling to so many and living in so many countries, adjusting to so many cultures, because a lot of people have been born in and continue living in the countries they have been born, like you and I, like, moved. And it feels like yesterday when I came to US and everything was so new. And have you found that this really helps you to be better coach and give people better professional advice on how to live better their lives?
Yes, absolutely. It was it's definitely, as you know, it becomes ingrained in you. Every little place that you've lived becomes not only a part of your story, but just kind of part of your DNA almost. And it's truly an education and a perspective that I'm truly grateful for. And as it relates to my coaching clients, if I can share just anything with them, it's that what is another way that we could look at this situation? What is another possible perspective to, a conflict in your life, or a stress, or a transition? Our perspectives are unique to us, but if you can just open your mind to that there might be another perspective, that can be very empowering.
I love it. And I completely agree with you. And I do relate in a way that even when I do sometimes our lives, or when I did our Pub Fashion Week, and, I'm like, listen, friends, you need to understand, in US, we are inches, we are, yards, and etc. Well, I even in the interview asked, some of the pet clothing designers, do you accept the orders in inches or in centimeters? And sometimes being able to translate, okay, it's not Fahrenheit, it's Celsius, and all of these interesting ways of seeing life, because coming, like in my case, from a different background, and in your case, living in so many cultures, it's a really eye-opening, and it's so great that you can implement it in the way you help people. It's fascinating. That's how we describe it. It's definitely fascinating. And I know that, of course, when you work with people, it's kind of, obviously it's confidential, but if there is a partially like a little win of one of your not patient clients, you can just partially share without, of course, breaking any confidentiality. What would you say, like a happy story?
That's a great question. Let me think.
I know.
I recently coached a woman who, even when she came to me with everything that was going on in her life, she's a single mom, two young children. During the time of our coaching relationship, they were still kind of homeschooling some back, and going back and forth before schools went back full time. And when she came to me with everything going on in her life, I really thought, wow, I don't know if she can make any free time for herself. It sounded like almost impossible. This woman has so much on her plate, leaving one job, trying to train someone at work, trying to do some school in the background, starting a new job. I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know if this woman has free time to rest. And, like you said, you peel away the onion, and she found space to create for herself. She found a space
Wow.
for herself and find rest and truly recharge her batteries, just to bring back some fulfillment in her life. And that's just one of my recent little success stories that is coming to mind.
I love it.
It can sometimes sound impossible, feel impossible. And I'm amazed by my clients all the time.
Love it. Wow. But they're lucky because they have you. That's why they succeed. And again, I like to repeat, success, it's different for everyone. For some people, like this particular special lady and mom, it's that she needed to gain a little time to recharge her battery and feel happy. For some people, maybe time to find time to sleep more, to find time to spend more with their fur babies or other friends. So for everyone, it's different. But the fact that you have achieved so much with helping her to find a way. And I'm a personal believer. I'm actually an example of it. There, it's always a way. You just need to have the right people in your life, sometimes other than our loved ones, to help you and guide you. I never will forget. A friend of mine told me, actually, I think it was 2 years ago. She said, your loved ones love you and they will give you an advice and tip, but they will give it to you from the bottom of their heart. But because they are not professionals in a way, they cannot see the real situation. Sometimes they are biased, versus going to work with a coach the same way like you. It's really helps you actually achieve more in a way that someone will tell you. And this, that some people may say, but first of all, why, Vasi, you're talking about this? Your platform is for completely different. But friends, I always like to showcase you life from a different angles and perspective, especially when all of us, we are furry parents. And just seeing it from a different perspective from a person who went to training, because you and I, we talked about your training. Can you just briefly kind of tap on it and tell people, it's not that you just decided, oh, I will become a life coach. I will tell you how to live your life. You back it up with over 18 months of heavy duty training and so many hours of helping people from all around the world.
Yes, and that's such a good point. It was when I decided to transition and that I wanted to leave dental hygiene and become a life coach. It was important to me to go to a program that was accredited, and well, like any accredited or most accredited programs, there's an ethical guidelines, there's a licensing exam and credentials, because unfortunately anybody can call themselves a life coach. So it was very important to me to have the proper training and one of the best programs out there. And so yeah, it was just about 18 months start to finish. And
it's a lot.
And you know, it was a transformational process for me too, just going through the training. So yeah.
I understand, and I admire you, because it's so funny. People would say, so this is like, and you're going to be laughing. So I think that for coaches, photographers, and real estate agents, everyone thinks they can do it.
Yeah.
What ends up happening? For real estate agents, you keep losing money because they didn't give you the right price or didn't write the listing in the right way. For photographers, they wouldn't take most likely the most flattering angles. And I can tell you how many times people come for me to redo their pictures because they didn't call me. They didn't know about me. And then when they decide to work with coaches, I mean, like that's why you call, your business, a coaching business, it's, with the number 8, because there are process, it's system, and people may think about all of us, like you and I, people think, oh, they're just talking. Oh, no. We have our style of teaching and coaching people, and there it's a system to achieve the result. So it's not just plain talking. We just have to make sure that people enjoy your personality and your style of coaching, or my style of, in my field, coaching. But there, it's not just random. And what happens is, and then I'm sure you agree with me, people say, oh, scratch all of this stuff. I will take my iPhone. I will go to YouTube to learn how to better my life. What happens? The same happens with pictures. People get overwhelmed because you go to YouTube, and nothing wrong about it. There are fantastic people there, but you need to find the right person to appeal to you, not to the world, just simply to you, because you are the most important person. And then people start watching, and then of the day they got so confused that they gave up. And guess what? You don't do any service to your loved ones. Do you agree with me, Ashley?
I agree with you 1000%. It's so true. Just like there is literally millions of videos you could watch on YouTube, there are millions of Instagram accounts with coaching. There's personal professional development books. And there's a time and a place for all of that, self-learning and exploring, and but there's nothing more valuable than a trained professional to really talk to you and, what are your goals? Like you said, friends and family can be biased, or they can think they know what's best for you. But only you knows what's best for you.
Yeah.
And a really trained coach is someone who can hold up the mirror for you without any judgment, without any agenda, and without any bias. So yeah, I agree with you. There, even me, I can go to the bookstore and find 10 different personal development books and read them all and come inspired. But if you don't have someone to hold you accountable, or to question, what are you learning from this? That's just a piece of the puzzle that you miss without human interaction and a professional to help you.
Absolutely. I so agree with you. It's interesting because when it's so I have two photography degrees, right? I don't have the time anymore to work on my third photography degree, which will be teaching more photographers. But then I had to go to the virtual entrepreneurship training. That was the hardest thing in my life. But long story short, I started with a group of friends. Like, we went to this program, we were 450 people. No one knew who I am, obviously, in a way that I was just a number. And so we decided with my little group to get together, like almost like truly every day for a few months. And so yesterday I spoke to one of my friends from this group. I think we were a total of 5 people. And she said, Vasi, look at our group. No one did anything. It's only you and me. And one of our other friends, she's also doing, she said the rest of the people didn't follow up. Because again, it's one thing to go through this training, but it's a completely different thing to have the passion and the strength and the support and the coach to make you continue your journey. Because it's a journey. It's a constant journey.
Definitely. Yeah, I would agree with you. And so you also brought something else important up, that I would love to talk about with your followers, is kind of the difference between coaching and consulting or mentorship. I know from my personal experience in my career as a dental hygienist, I have had 100 consultants, come through. Offices love to bring in a consultant and say, oh, we want to know how to do this differently. Teach us how to do this to get the best result. And oftentimes it's, you can go through a consulting program and it just doesn't stick. There's not a lot of accountability or follow up after. And just because what worked for someone or someone else's business doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. Everybody has different values, different mission statement, and organizations are built up of unique individuals. It's very hard to cookie cutter something like that. And consultant also is an expert on something and has an agenda. And a coach is an expert on the coaching process.
Exactly.
Yes. And, I truly believe that everyone has the answers themselves, and I facilitate a space for you to discover those answers. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much for clarifying it. And I really hope, friends, that with this live or podcast, or it doesn't matter where we are watching or listening, Ashley brought you a very interesting and new perspective to some of you for bettering your life. And some people not believe in it. In fact, I was one of these people, because my sister kept going for to coaches for many years, and I looked at her and I was, oh my God, Cici, you are, just really like giving your money, and and every month, and in her case she had homeworks, and really like it was really intense. But that was her thing. Again, every coach is different, the type of coaching and the process is different. And I look at her and I'm like, oh, so then Vasi decided to go through this, which was a completely life-changing experience. And that's why I'm so grateful to you for being with us today, and just kind of broaden the horizons for some people. Because some people may say, oh, maybe if you're stressed out, answer it's go to eat food late in the evening. Of course, working out, fantastic. Finding time to go to do a massage, incredible. Giving hugs to your babies, yes. Joining physical and virtual pet events, fantastic, and fundraising, volunteering. But there is also a little more to it in a way. I hope you agree with me. I feel that the society taught us what it's right and and especially if you live in different countries, it's slightly different, but they taught us what is right, what is acceptable. But once you really start working on yourself and with help, you realize that a lot of things are not the way the society thinks they have to be. And it's funny because I was listening a few months ago, one of our friends was telling his son something, and I'm thinking, yes and no. It depends. It really depends. And but anyway, do you agree with me? It's just things very deep.
Yeah. We have, we learn these messages from our culture and our society and our family, or, whoever is influencing us from a young age. There's interpretations and assumptions that most of us don't even realize that we're making. There's definitely a difference between truth and what is true for you.
Yeah, I love it. And I also know that we create our own reality, and that's one thing. And see here, the coach is saying, yes, Vasi, thank you. A lot of times people, this is my message. If there is one message today I want to give to each of you friends, a lot of you keep looking on social media and you say, oh, this person lives incredible life. I will give example picture-wise. So you go to Facebook or Instagram or TikTok and you look at all of these beautiful pictures and videos and say, mine are not good enough. I'm not going to post because I don't have a chance. Here I am to tell you, you first of all don't even know what's in behind the scenes in this person's life in a respectful way. How many pictures or videos this person had to take to have one good one? Maybe there were 10 or maybe there were 100, right? You don't know. Or maybe this person went to a professional photographer and spent money on it, invested money in the memories. So then the takeaway is that it doesn't matter what some of the things are happening in the world. It matters what you would like to happen in your own world, and to take a leap, really take an action. As long as it's not life-threatening, health comes first, safety comes first for you and your baby. So, what's the worst can happen? To learn from a mistake, which will protect you in the future. So do you agree with me?
Oh, I 1000%, 1000%. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just have a last question before, I ask you to tell people where they can find you, and if you'd like to share something, before we are done for today. But how did you feel while we had our session and I photographed you? Can you tell behind the scenes? Because a lot of people, they know me, they haven't had the chance to kind of, obviously we have friends from Australia and Canada, and you name it. The map, it's really huge. But what's the meaning of truly working with Vasi? You can be honest.
What did you say? What's the meaning of working with
Yeah,
me?
yeah. How did you feel? How did you feel working with Vasi from a photography point of view?
So that I'm so glad you asked, because I know that you could sense when I came into the studio that oftentimes very much in my head. And I did it, just kind of over analyzing and overthinking. Did I make the right decision by coming to a photographer? And I feel uncomfortable and I have makeup on, and that is not my true, true way. And I think that you could sense that. And you really coached me through, your process. And the end result was I felt comfortable. I ended up just leaving all of that overthinking aside and just trusted you and your guidance. And I felt really comfortable.
Wow, thank you. It's so interesting to hear it from your perspective. And this is one of your portrait. I mean, I'm still completing the rest of it, but I absolutely love it, love it. And we also, friends, we had to go through, the proper, like you were beyond prepared. And I want to thank you. You brought me different outfits and props and etc. But, we had to coordinate everything with, like, you can see, this is, like those are your branding colors. So we had to do everything together to make sure that it matches, to make sure that you can use it in a long term. And I really feel that we did achieve it. But thank you so much. It's so interesting to see myself from the eyes, of people I work with, because sometimes it can be intimidating. Like you go to a photographer, or you decide to, let's say, work with me to coach you how to do your phone photography and etc. And then you say, but why do I need this? But it's just because we know the angles, we know everything. And you know what, and I'm sure you learn some tips in a way that in the future, when you do your own phone pictures, to mix and match with what you have with me, you'll be able to use some of those tips.
Oh, it was an invaluable experience. Just learning to trust you and your process and your skill. And just, I've been going through this whole chipping away at the perfectionism process and journey myself. And so that it was a piece of that.
Wow, thank you. Well, thank you. And I'm sure that, thank you for being so honest. I know that a lot of people probably would, feel the same way talking about being perfect. I never will forget. I try to be perfect, but I'm realizing it's impossible. So, so that's why we do our best. But many years ago, going back to like in Bulgaria, you call it university, here you call it college, the same story. So we had an assignment, my sister and I decided to go ahead and showcase to our professor what I created. I mean, I studied graphic design. So my sister took her time. She took 2 extra days. The first day I went, I passed. I had a really high score, so I was fine. My sister got tortured 2 extra days. She passed, of course, but I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you have to kind of try it, because we know it doesn't necessarily mean that the people around us know our field. So even if it's not 100% perfect according to our own high standards, it's probably beyond million billion times perfect for regular people who are not in our field.
Yeah, totally.
And is there anything last you would like to tell people? Any other tips, recommendations?
Oh gosh. I guess I will share my own kind of mantra, so to speak. Just a mindset that I practice every day, is I tell myself, and I truly believe, that everyone we meet is our student and our teacher. And if I carry this mindset throughout my day, I'm staying curious. I'm trying to learn from someone, if there's a conflict or I'm standing in line for too long and getting impatient, if I can go to this mindset of what can I learn from this situation, what can I learn from someone I'm interacting with, it's just a very empowering growth mindset that I would love for everybody to try.
I love it. And actually, thank you, because I just learned this from you. I never really saw it. I mean, I always felt that I can learn from everyone. And that's why a lot of times, my community, they know I tell them, you can DM me if you have ideas. I will consider it. A lot of times I really do it. But and then when people tell me, I'm like, okay, so what's the takeaway, Vasi? So it's absolutely true. But I really love that teaching and being, the student. This is a fantastic way of putting it together. And I cannot thank you enough. And can you tell people where they can find you?
So my website is level8coaching.com. And on the website, you'll find links to my Facebook and my Instagram and my email address. And you can even book a free 30-minute consultation just to see if it's a good fit, especially if you've never worked with a coach before. It's just a little taste of what the value of coaching can bring.
I love it. I love it. And friends, don't take this lightly. This is a huge opportunity. And, and to be honest with you, I would encourage you, it doesn't matter if you're watching this or listening this, share it with your friends, because it doesn't matter. Are you a pet parent? Are you, let's say, a man or a woman? It applies to everyone. Today was a very different type of, I would say, it live or a podcast, in a way that today we went in more about the spiritual way and more about the mindset. And what it's a mindset, it's the way we kind of accept life and we choose more. It's more of a spiritual way of accepting and living better. It's not the physical, it's here. And for some of you who are really only, like all of us, we are pet parents, but I'm sure that at least each of you had one takeaway. And don't only leave it as takeaway. I really encourage you actually to take an action and today to do something good for you. It doesn't matter what it's going to be, because again, everyone says think and work and help others. But you know what? It starts with you first. Because if you're good, if you're happy, if you find help with people like Ashley, who went through training, who know how to teach you and lead you through this process, you are going to see a huge change. We are happy, but a lot of us live for tomorrow. A lot of us live for yesterday. And that's one thing I even talked to my dad many times. Obviously, he's my dad. And I said, Dad, forget the past. Great, think about the future, but focus today, now, and appreciate it. Give hug to your babies. Check out, go say hi to Ashley. Take advantage from this opportunity. And I can tell you, I'm very grateful. Ashley will be highlighted in our May magazine issue. And Ashley actually has been so generous to give a free session to one of you, 45 minutes free session, which you're going to be eligible to apply to win if you go and you sign up to win. So stay tuned. And thank you very much, Ashley, for being with us today and giving us so much wonderful information and showcasing us that there is another world and there is another way to live better, filled up with joy, love, and just really love our babies and live better.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad again to be invited to be a part of this community. And I just love how we can all come together with the common link of our pets, our loved ones. Yeah.
I love them too. They're so cute. Our furry babies are so adorable. And I never really saw this happening. It's possible, but it really amazes me. I mean, the whole world, everyone. And I have found out that people who are pet parents, or some people may volunteer because, their lifestyle doesn't allow them to really have a pet at home. But it amazes me how we can get together. And I want to thank you again for being with us. Thank you so much for the fact that you're going to be featured in the magazine. And thank you so much for being so generous and giving someone 45 minutes free coaching session. And I'm excited for whoever win it. And again, stay tuned, friends. This is coming up, but you're kind of one of the first ones to know what it's coming up. So enjoy your day. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you.
See you soon, and give hugs to the babies. And thank you, friends. Have an amazing day. Hug your babies and know that today will be a better day and tomorrow will be even better. It's all about our decision to live better, to enjoy life, and to know that you are important. So